Are you thinking about starting a weight loss a program, a diet, a health and wellness? Maybe it's an exercise fitness program. Well, listen, before you do anything else, stop what you're doing. Grab a pen and paper. I got 8 ideas I want to run by you that may just help you be successful. You're going to just want to hear these out, jot down the ones that are pertinent to you. Don't go away. Hey team, it's Mike here at After 40 Fitness and after40fitness.ca. Great question came in on social media this week and just said, Mike, how do I get started? I'm thinking about starting a diet and exercise program. I really don't know where to start with. Never done it before. It'd be kind of cool. Is there like a recipe? And I thought, what a great question. Yeah, I mean, this person wasn't even asking about keto, my favorite. They just wanted to know about a calorie restricted program and an exercise program. And what are the steps to get started? What's the best thing they could do? Should they just go ahead and decide to start, or was there some planning steps? And damn right there is. Just without even thinking about it, I came up with 8 in a hurry. There's probably more. If you haven't yet subscribed, you're going to want to subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out 2 or 3 videos a week right now. They're typically of a health and wellness, a diet, if you will, especially keto. It's my favorite topic. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button. In fact, even more so is share the video with anybody you know who's talked about an exercise or diet program. That's what good friends do, right? We get information that's important to us and we tell 2 friends who tell 2 friends. So grab your pen. Do you have a pen handy? If not, hit pause. Come back with a pen and paper, because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk through 8 things I think you should do to improve your chances that work for me, work for my clients. You're going to want to jot down, especially the ones that you hadn't thought of yet, and put them into practice. Are you ready? Let's get after it. Okay, number 1, believe it or not, I don't know what you're thinking is the most important thing to me. Number 1, far and away, accountability. Bob Proctor said that accountability is the glue that ties commitment to the result. The glue. I think what he means is that it ties or it glues the responsibility for our actions with ownership of our mistakes. I just think it's so important that you find a trusted friend, someone, a confidant, if you will, that you can share your plan with, your goals, as well as use them as a check-in. The power of when you are about to let yourself down, which we do all the time. We are often our own worst enemy, and we've probably, if you're like me, you've established a bit of a history, a bit of a reputation for not being your word, right? We're very quick to let ourselves down. However, we may not be so quick as to let someone else down, particularly if we're going to have a mandatory check-in. And this is where I think having a coach, this is what doubles as having a coach, someone that you have to account to, someone you might even pay to show up and have to explain how your week went. And if you were someone like me, if you're one of my clients, and you had to show up on a given Monday and do a weigh-in and take measurements, and you're about to, on Wednesday or Thursday of the week prior, consider cheating on yourself. Consider letting yourself down on your regimen, on your diet program, or perhaps not showing up for a workout because you just don't feel like it, right? Then you're going to think to yourself, I got to explain to Mike on Monday morning why the tape hasn't moved, why the scale isn't budging. Okay? And often that's enough to boot yourself in the butt and get the program working, right? Get to the workout or stop the cheat. And so that's where this trusted friend comes in. Now I'm going to touch on this at the very end because I'm going to help. I got to make you a suggestion, an offer that you're going to want to listen to at the end. But let me get through the 8 first. Number 2 is having goals, right? And not just goals. If you've at all been in a corporate environment where they talk about goals, and you've seen the acronym SMART. SMART being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So let's touch on them real quick. This is one of those beautiful things about a diet or a weight loss regimen is that we're fortunate. Everything to do with our program, with your diet or weight loss program, your fitness program is trackable and measurable. In fact, let's talk about one. Your goal might be, let's say you weigh currently, it doesn't matter, male or female, let's say you currently weigh 190 and your goal is 160. You have a definite goal. That's specific. It may be to knock out a hit circuit, to be able to do it in under 10 minutes 3 times. Awesome. How about measurable? Has to have metrics. And that's where the weigh-ins and the tape, never mind what your scale, I never care what the scale says. I care about my body fat weight and my body fat percentage. That's it. That's all. All right, so we get it. We know we can do it. We know everything about this regimen is going to be measurable. Next up is achievable. A stands for achievable. I like the word actionable, actually. In a corporate environment, we prefer to say actionable, and that means, can I draw a flow? Can I draw a process map? Can I put together a swim lane, that's a style of a graph, that shows getting from A to Z? And so one of the benefits again of being in a weight loss program is this is scientific. There's no, maybe, could it possibly? No, we know. We know what it takes to create a caloric deficit, to get our macros in order, to cut down on some inflammatory, sugary, starchy foods, and create a caloric deficit via exercise. So everything about our swim lane or about our process flow map is going to be beautiful. It's going to be achievable. Of course, now we get to the R. The R is for realistic. And what that really means is, is the goal, is it truly achievable? I mean, if you say to me, I want to lose 60 pounds in a month, that ain't going to happen. I don't care who you are. You can fast the entire month, not eat a damn thing, and you're not going to lose 60 pounds in a month. But 10 pounds a month, 3 months in a row, that's realistic because it's achievable, right? But not just that, not just realistic in the form of, is it doable? But it actually pertains to, is it pertinent for you? Is it important enough for you that you will commit energy, effort, attention, and focus, that you will potentially have someone that you're accountable to? You might even hire a coach. Okay. Is it important enough to you that it will count toward your happiness? If that's a yes, now it's realistic. So lastly is the T for timely, time-orientated. And I like it. Here's a good example. A goal could be to lose 10 pounds or to lose 10 pounds in a month. So there's the difference between the two. When you put a time frame on it, when you have a deadline, man, stuff happens when you're under a crunch. So let's do it. Let's make sure that your goals, that whatever your aspirations are, have got a defined deadline. That takes care of number 2, making sure you have SMART goals. Number 3, you have got to create a baseline of the amount of food you're eating. We need to know what your typical diet looks like today, what your calories look like, and from that we can extrapolate so many things. It's really kind of cool. But this means you need to, for a day, a couple of days, preferably a week, prior to starting your regimen, I recommend to my clients, log everything. What an eye-opener it gives to someone, to a coach, to someone you're accountable to, and to yourself. Now, it does mean creating a log. I'm going to help you out with that. There are a couple of really cool smartphone-based apps. Here, let me show you one. This one here is called MyFitnessPal. And so this is a really cool app that you can take on the fly. And some of the features of it, let me show you the next one. This is where it breaks down your daily caloric intake into the macros, into carbs, fat, and protein. It goes one step further, this MyFitnessPal. Not only does it do this for you and let you track your food, but it also then lets you track your history, your weight loss over time, so you can see that downward gradient. That's really slick. Now, the one that I like to use, that I use most often when I'm in tracking mode, when I'm cutting and I'm really trying to get lean and drop a percent or two, I use this one here called Carb Manager. Carb Manager is also a free download. Both of these, by the way, as well as any other, Chronometer is a third one. They all have paid versions, a couple extra features kick in, but nonetheless, the free versions work great. Okay, so I recommend any of these, but this Carb Manager is my favorite. As you can see, same thing. It helps you establish, based on height, weight, etc., your activity level, your daily caloric needs. It then breaks it down into goals for fat, for protein, and for carbs. But I do love the fact that you can track everything. I mean, the tracking on this is so good. It's an easy way to log on the fly. You open up your phone and you make it happen. Okay? If that's not in the cards for you, if you'd rather not do that, then there is always a paper method. Just create a chart, go into Excel, go into Word, go into Notepad, and just start logging everything that goes in your mouth. Here's another version of it, just a much nicer looking Monday through Sunday weekly tracker. Do this for a week. The old mentality of calories in, calories out still has some merit. It's been challenged of late that there's so many other variables like hormones and metabolic health, all true. But at the end of the day, you need to be in a caloric deficit. No one argues a caloric deficit. You cannot lose weight in a caloric surplus. All right, plain and simple. And number 4 is to map out your regimen. Now take that work you did, all that logging, and let's come up with a plan a week at a time for the number of meals you're going to have, when you're going to have them, and what they're going to consist of. Okay? This is probably the one step in them all that's the most tedious. It takes planning. It takes thinking ahead over the course of a week and making sure nothing's left to chance. Whether it's 3, 4, 5 meals a day. Right? You'll need to decide which philosophy, which camp you're going to fall into. Okay? I am of the opinion that in a caloric deficit, it doesn't matter how many meals you have. And then the times. So let's say you elected to go with 4 meals. And you picked your meals at 8 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., and 7. All right? Now we're going to take your macros. You're going to take your macros and break them up across those 4 eating times, those 4 meal times, right? Make sure that happens. And then you'll plan each meal itself. You may elect, if you're like me and you love certain foods and you can eat them all the time, that it can be bacon and eggs every morning. Every morning. Without exception, that to me is glorious. I could do that every day for the rest of my life. I love bacon and eggs. How about noon? Noon could be a salad with chicken. right? 3 p.m. could be a whey protein smoothie, maybe with a few berries in it. And then dinner can be whatever you're having with the family, steak and broccoli, chicken, fish with seasonal vegetables. Like, oh, there's so many options. All right. So map that out. This is, again, the most tedious part, planning ahead. And if you're at all the kind of person who likes some variety, then make sure 1 week to the next kind of alters, kind of varies. But if you can, make it simple on yourself by having a couple of meals that are constantly repetitive. For me, example, bacon and eggs at 8 a.m. and that whey smoothie at 3 p.m. Those two are givens for me. And then I just have to figure out lunch and dinner. Number 5 is a fitness plan. You have got to map out a fitness plan. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. This is my personal opinion. You do with it what you will. I believe you don't ever create a caloric deficit just by cutting calories. Right? There are too many people who will claim success in social media. In fact, one of my most dreaded questions that I chime in on every time I see it is when someone says, hey, can I do keto or low carb or carnivore and not exercise? Damn right. Make no mistake, I will never BS you about this. Of course you can. You're in a caloric deficit. And in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. However, I always counter with, why would you want to? Right? Because here's what I want you to get from this. If you cut calories in order to create a caloric deficit, that is a game a never-ending game, and you can't win it. And so what happens is, just to give you a bit of a soliloquy, is you will cut calories and your body ain't stupid. It's going to fight back. Right? It's going to downregulate your metabolism, the extra energy. You end up putting out less energy when you consume less. It's been proven in many studies where people who go on a calorie restricted diet, their energy output drops, their metabolism drops, their pituitary, their thyroid, they all down-regulate to drop your calories, which is why someone can cut 300 calories out of their daily regimen, and in about a month from now, they'll lose weight, and then all of a sudden they're going to say, oh my God, I haven't lost any weight in a week. How do I break a stall? How do I break a plateau? Go in social media, in any keto, low-carb, Weight Watchers, Ornish, The Zone, and you're going to hear people saying, how do you break a plateau? I'll tell you don't create one in the first place, right? Oh my God, I could rant about this all day. Anyway, so my recommendation, what I do with my clients and anybody who wants my advice, is I recommend once we establish kind of sort of your baseline, your basal metabolic rate for calories, or your baseline, and again, let's use the example of 1,700. Let's say a woman comes to me and she says, we figured out that my calories are 1,700. Can I drop it to 1,500? And I'll say, oh, so you want to create a 200 calorie deficit per day via food. Can I give you a recommendation? Let's leave it at 17. Your body loves you at 17. And let's create a 200 calorie deficit per day via fitness, via exercise. Preferably resistance training, but secondarily HIIT, and only third, some kind of steady state cardio. But let's create a 200 calorie a day deficit. You're going to lose a couple pounds a day through all the benefits of that, but your metabolism will not be impacted. So my recommendation, oh, by the way, look at this really cool graphic. I saw this tweet from this person I follow on Twitter, but notice what she says about how important it is to not just create a caloric deficit without activity. Notice she says there's this little secret to long-term extreme success stories, very high activity. A deficit is not a deficit. Don't think that for a second. No, not all deficits are equal. The same calorie balance at higher activities will always result in superior body composition to being less active. Oh my God. Like, just let that sink in for a minute. Read that a couple times. And so when someone says to you, hey, I'm thinking about going on a diet, but I don't feel like exercising, or I don't like exercising, or my knees hurt, so I'm not going to do anything. You need to be just absolutely adamant that is a mistake. Create your caloric deficit with higher activity, and you will do better. You will have, as Ella puts it, superior body composition. Let me show you a calendar that someone created. This is kind of cute. Hey, look at this. Got little animation, little graphics. And every day has an activity. Fits in once a week their rest day, but make sure that they're doing something every 5 days, for 5 days straight before a rest day. I love that. What a great plan. How about this one? Again, just a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet where every day of the month you create a little chart. Doesn't have to be fancy as the last one. And you map out to do something every day. But if we map it out ahead of time so we at the end of the day can put a check mark beside the days that were accomplished well, that goes a long way. That's accountability to ourselves. That's taking responsibility. So you may map out that Monday, Wednesday, Friday is going to be resistance training. Monday, Wednesday, Friday of every week is going to be resistance. It could be at the gym with weights. It could be body weight squats and lunges. You may have bands. Go buy some bands or a couple of kettlebells. Awesome. How about then Tuesday and Thursday you sign up for a spinning class? Put that on the chart. Maybe on Saturday you're going to go in and do a Pilates class, or maybe on Sunday yoga. Map that out. Create that plan. that will go a long way, not just for helping you with toning and fitness and health and cardiovascular and cardiopulmonary health, but it will create that deficit that'll help you look the way you want to look in the shortest window possible. Number 6, metrics. Remember we talked about how everything had to be measurable. We talked about our SMART goals. Let's talk about those metrics. First, you need to weigh yourself now, even though I don't really care for the scale. Unless you have a body comp scale. By the way, we should talk about that. I really am not a fan of the scale. The scale, there's too many variables, right? Water weight for women that time of the month. Just sodium and electrolyte levels can impact your bloating, your water retention. Not a fan of the scale. I am a fan of those body composition scales. I mean, Walmart sells them now for $100, so everyone should have one. And it's one of those ones, I'll show a picture of it here. This is cool. You step on it and it sends a little current up and down you. And based on the time it takes for that current to flow, this algorithm runs and it can tell you your fat weight, your fat percentage, your water weight, your bone density, your fat-free mass. So good. All I ever care about is fat mass and fat percentage. What about measuring? Even more important, and women in the forums and the media, social media will talk all the time about how the scale doesn't budge, but the tape tells the tale, the measuring, right? I'm going to tell you something else about using the scale. Don't do that every day. Please, once a week at most. Those little daily fluctuations in our electrolytes and sodium and our water retention, that'll just drive you to drink. Okay, I think at most once a week. I'm partial to once a week, but never more than that. In fact, if you have the self-control, do it once a month. And number 7, it is selfie time. Absolutely. Take that before pic. It is going to go so nicely with that after pic in a month or 3 months from now. You have to do it. Trust me, you will regret not having something to compare to. I see so many times people say, I didn't have the courage, or I just neglected to take. Well, you'll regret it. Take one, file it away somewhere, hide it. Just do it. Okay? If you have the courage, share it with your accountability partner. Share it with your coach. Right? I'll tell you something. Comparing before and afters are the best. Here's mine. I don't show it often, but that's me at my worst after some injuries at about 250, 255, and now I hover right around 190. So you're going to want to have those points of reference, points of comparison, especially for getting feedback from a trusted advisor, from a confidant, from a coach. And last, number 8, plan diet breaks. See, what you want to do, in my opinion, and working with clients over the last almost 30 years, is you want to make this as sustainable as possible. And that means there's got to be, I use the word rewards, but I use that loosely. There are a lot of people who are more psychologically educated than I am who will look at using food as a reward as enabling an eating disorder. See, I don't look at it that way. I just look at it as a reward for an effort well done. We all like to be, have a pat on the back or a reward. So I don't look at planning what I call a refeed. By the way, you need to know there's a difference between cheating and a refeed. I have a whole video on this. Please click on that link at the end of this video where I walk you through the psychological damage that cheating does when we let ourselves down versus a planned, controlled, looked forward to, and expected refeed. Very different. There's no psychological impact from a refeed like there is with cheating. There's no letdown. There's no emotional overtones. There's no stigma. And so I have my clients plan just like I do, twice a month. Every other Saturday, if there's no special occasions, or at most 2 special occasions a month where you get to, and I mean go hog wild, buffet, right? And so I'll give you an example. On those Saturdays, if there isn't a birthday or an anniversary or something that gives me a reason to have a refeed, then on those 2 Saturdays per month, I'll be strict through the day. I'll break my fast at noon. I'll have a little afternoon snack of some pork rinds, cheese and bacon, whatever the case might be. But from dinner through bed on those 2 Saturdays, it's open season. I mean, dinner might be burger and fries or pizza or pasta, lasagna. Oh my goodness, the wife and I'll go out for all-you-can-eat ribs at Montana's. And then we'll head right over to Dairy Queen and put back a large blizzard. I put back a large blizzard, okay? It may be a show night. The kids now will go see a show in the evening, and it's going to be M&Ms and licorice with popcorn and a root beer. Like it's frankly, it's disgusting. Okay, but it's planned. It's looked forward to. When I didn't do this, before I got into this planned refeed mode, I don't mind telling you, I would have licorice or M&Ms or a drink with the kids, and you know something? I'd feel sick for 2 days. I'd be nauseous. I'd have bloating. I would feel lethargic. All right, and then all of a sudden, I learned about this planning or this cyclical way of doing dieting where you plan these rewards and guess what happened? Not a damn thing. Right? I can have this, I described to you, burger, fries, ice cream, treats, pop, and the next morning I get up and I'm good to go. I feel great, crushing the best workouts of my life, personal bests. like just pumped. Oh my God, sick pumps, right? What does that tell you? That tells you that all those implications of eating carbs are purely psychosomatic. So I avoid that with my clients. So I would tell you, if you were one of my clients, I would say to you, we are going to plan those 2 refeeds per month. Okay? Unless something comes up, it's going to be every other Saturday, just like I do. I'll lead by example. And here's what's going to happen. You are going to love it. You're going to look forward to it, so that on Wednesday or Thursday in the week prior, leading up to your refeed, if someone puts licorice in front of you, you'll have the willpower to say, no, 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 I don't need that because I'm 3 days away and I don't want to lose my buffet. I don't want to lose my refeed. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. It was a game changer for me, and my clients swear by it. And let me tell you something. Those 2 refeeds per month, there is not a chance in hell. You know it if you're honest. There's no way that 28 days or 29 days a month of strict carb watching, whether it's keto or just Weight Watchers version or the zone or just a calorie restricted program with exercise thrown in, there is no way that those 2 little refeed periods of a couple thousand calories can make any difference. And Bob's your uncle, you keep right on progressing. Okay, I love that. That's the metabolic flexibility that our body is known for. And we're just giving it a chance to be flexible. Okay, so on that note, now you've got them 1 through 8, right? Put those into practice. You'll have a much better chance, in my humble opinion, of being successful in your program. But remember, we talked about number 1, accountability. I got a little offer for you. If you don't have an accountability partner, let me do that for you. There's no cost, just for fun. In fact, what I'm going to recommend you do is create a little email to mike@after40fitness.ca. Okay, use me, try me out, okay, for fun. I have right now the cycles, the time to spare. What I'm going to recommend you do is you send me all the things we talked about. So all your stats, your metrics, your weight, your before picture, an example of your current menu. So you're going to have to do logging. You have to give me an idea of your food. I'll help you then come up with the plans we talked about. On that note, folks, thanks so much for spending your time with me. I hope you got some stuff out of this. I hope you truly did take some notes. And even more so, if you do know someone who's interested in losing weight and getting fit, oh my God, share this video with them. Why wouldn't you? Okay, if they can get 1 or 2 things like you did, well then, hey, that's helping each other, right? People helping people. That's great stuff. And on that note, if you haven't yet, I hope I've earned your attention enough and your respect that you'll hit subscribe, that you'll hit the bell icon and hit notifications. Definitely give this one a like, right? Smash that like button real quick for me. Help me grow the channel. And at the same time, like I said, please do share it. On that note, see you in the next one.